um, for 2021. And today we have a great presentation. It is, it's called A Holistic Approach to Health. And we really wanted to look at ways that we could address, how to take care of you. I think a lot of times people forget to take care of themselves, and you can't pour from an empty cup. And so today our speakers, Dr. Brian Galofaro with Our Lady of the Lake, and Brittany Craft, registered dietitian with Eat Fit, with Ochsner Eat Fit North Shore, are gonna talk to us today about how we can take care of ourselves, body, mind, and spirit, help us prepare for the holiday season and the new year with hopefully some lifestyle changes that are sustainable. A couple of housekeeping things just to get us started. So both of our presenters are going to go, and then we'll take some question and answers at the end. If you would use the question and answer feature at the bottom and not the chat, we want to make sure that we don't lose sight of anyone's questions, and sometimes the chat will scroll up. So use the question and answer, and we'll address those at the end. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about our speakers, and then I believe Dr. Galofaro is going to kick us off in just a minute. So Dr. Galofaro is the Associate Medical Director of Our Lady of the Lake Physician Group in St. Tammany Parish, and also the Medical Director of the Franciscan University PA program. He's certified by the American Board of Family Medicine and also is a diplomat of the American Board of Family Medicine. Dr. Galofaro's focus is on delivering quality healthcare to his patients and finding ways to improve the delivery of healthcare in today's market. He's also passionate about teaching and currently an adjunct clinical professor for William Carey School of Medicine and a clinical instructor for LSU School of Medicine and Tulane University School of Medicine, where he combines teaching with cutting-edge medicine and efforts to change the healthcare landscape. Dr. Galofaro is very busy. Brittany Craft, a registered dietitian, is the Eat Fit North Shore Operations and Marketing Director with Ochsner Health. She's passionate about sharing fresh and delicious meals with her community and works closely with restaurants and markets in the North Shore region to identify and develop nutritious menu options. Brittany's previously worked as a clinical dietitian at St. Tammany Parish Hospital, specializing in oncology and cardiovascular nutrition. She's also served as the advanced cooking class instructor at Culinary Kids North Shore, teaching culinary, food safety, and nutrition skills to students ages 9 to 14. Brittany's love of food began as a child while living in Italy, and she enjoys practicing Lagri Pilates, baking, singing, reading, and spending time with her little family. Brittany is also very busy, and I didn't realize that she had spent some time in Italy. That's awesome. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our speakers. Dr. Galofaro is going to kick us off, followed by Brittany, and then we'll answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin, for that introduction. It's an honor to be talking to you guys today. I'm going to just pull up my PowerPoint. Okay, and so as Erin stated, I'm a physician with Lake Physician Group here in Covington. I am a family doctor and actively see patients.
We can't see your PowerPoint, doctor.
You cannot, okay. Let's see. What about now?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. All right. So, so let's start with, what is a holistic approach to health? Well, it's a belief that a patient is a unique person with a unique life and set of circumstances that affects his or her health or wellness. We're not all the same. We don't view the patient as just a constellation of conditions or disease states. Because each patient is unique, he or she requires an individualized approach to health and wellness. So, a cookie cutter mentality approach doesn't always work well because we are all different. A holistic approach to health is also a focus on wellness and prevention. So if we can do a good job of adhering to a healthy lifestyle, we can actually prevent disease. And that's really the key, if we can prevent it from occurring in the first place. But also getting to the root cause of disease and asking, why is this happening, rather than just focusing on treating certain symptoms of a certain disease state. It's also using traditional medicine but emphasizing lifestyle and or evidence-based alternative therapies when possible. So I actively incorporate integrative medicine into my practice. And so there are many times where we can use lifestyle and certain evidence-based, for example, supplements and other therapies in place of medication. And if we can do that, that's always preferable. So I always tell my patients, my philosophy is there's 3 realms of health. So there's the physical, which most people think about when they go to a doctor, but also there's the mental and the spiritual. And so to maintain a state of wellness, optimal health occurs when all 3 of these are healthy or balanced. And when one realm suffers, the others suffer as well. So a lot of the physical manifestations of disease that I see oftentimes are influenced or exacerbated by other realms of health. So, certain mental conditions such as anxiety or depression. But a lot of people underestimate the importance of good spiritual health, which we'll also talk about. So let's start with keeping the body healthy. So how do we do that? So good physical health, it's not just an isolated point in time. It's really a long continuum of adhering to a healthy lifestyle. So it's really something that we have to continue doing to maintain an overall state of wellness. It's also a contract with yourself and your doctor. So I always tell my patients it's 50-50. So I'm going to do my best to give you the best possible advice, but you also have to do your part. So diet, exercise, etc., to get optimal results. A lot of patients, tell me that they have certain genetic predispositions, and they have an approach as if if I have a certain predisposition to a disease, it's going to happen. I'm going to develop that disease. I'm genetically cursed, so to speak. So what I tell my patients, genetics absolutely plays a part in your health, but it doesn't control it. So I always tell my patients, genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So we have epigenetic studies showing that we have 2 sets of patients with the same gene mutation. And these studies actually look at dietary and lifestyle. And for the patients that adhere to healthy diet and lifestyle, we actually have genetic studies showing that that particular gene is not expressed as often in those individuals. Also, it's very important to have a primary care physician. A primary care physician is your medical home. It's a quarterback to help you navigate your healthcare journey. So, I'm a huge LSU fan. So, our Tigers, to play as a team, we have to have a quarterback coordinating things. Also, it's super important to see your doctor at least once a year. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see patients make. I'm doing fine. I don't need to go into the doctor. It's a good idea to do this. So, once a year, we like you to come in for an annual wellness visit. And so this is a visit where, we're not necessarily addressing any specific problems, but we want to make sure there are no issues that we should be aware of and we should, prompt intervention for. Also, it's very important to know your numbers. So, what is a healthy blood pressure? What is your blood pressure? Where do you fall on that spectrum? What is your body mass index? Am I in a healthy state of weight? Do I need to make lifestyle changes? Also, cholesterol. What is a good cholesterol number? What are my numbers? What do I need to do to change that? And then hemoglobin A1C, for example, which is a 3-month average of your blood sugar. So just a slide to remind the importance of having a quarterback. I'm still living in 2019 when we just won the national championship, and I'm hoping we can get Joe Burrow to come back and go to grad school and play for us again. But have a quarterback, have a PCP for your healthcare journey. Also, it's very important, and this is key, it's essential for prevention. You have to stay up to date with your screening and preventatives. This is the low-hanging fruit. These are the things that we do to identify disease early on so we can intervene and have a good outcome. For example, getting your colonoscopies. getting your mammograms if you're a female. These tests, allow us to screen for disease that are often asymptomatic in patients. Also, it's very important to exercise. It's not just something we tell our patients to do. It's very important for overall health. I always advise my patients, it can be very discouraging, especially if you don't exercise regularly, but it's always a good idea to start slow and work up towards a goal. The studies show that people that do 150 minutes per week of exercise tend to stay healthier and tend to live longer. And you can break that up however you'd like, 30 minutes 5 times a week or just on the weekend, whatever works for your life. Another good way of measuring activity is get a pedometer, aim for 10,000 steps a day. Studies also show that people that do 10,000 steps a day are more likely to stay healthier and have less disease. Also critical that you have a healthy diet. So it's important to note that one diet doesn't suit all. This is something you really want to discuss with your doctor and or your nutritionist. And in a few moments, Brittany's going to give you a lot more detail about that. So as a doctor, I try to point my patients in the right direction, but adhering to and starting a diet can be overwhelming. And that's where experts like Brittany come in, because they can sit down with you and they can formulate a plan so you can actually make this doable. And then I always remind my patients of the N equals out concept. So if we're putting bad stuff into our body, we can expect to get bad stuff out as far as symptoms, disease. So, if we put good things into our body, we're going to stay healthier. And this was observed early on in medicine. One of the fathers of medicine, Hippocrates, he said, "Let food be thy medicine." So again, going back to those studies, adhering to a healthy diet can actually affect the expression of certain genes that can cause disease. But also adhering to certain diets in different disease states can actually be very useful in actually treating certain diseases. Ask questions. When you see your doctor, ask questions. It's important for you to have as much information as possible. And also, knowing, where you stand as far as your health. How healthy are you? But always ask questions. We'd love to answer these questions because it can be overwhelming. And when you notice a change, tell your doctor. I have so many patients that come in and they come in with certain issues, and in many cases, it can turn out to be a significant issue. And patients tend to wait too long. So the earlier you get in, if there is a problem, we can intervene and have a plan to get you better. Let's talk about keeping the mind healthy. This is also vitally important in your overall health. So I always tell my patients it's a great idea to just kind of have a mental check-in with yourself. How am I doing? Life is busy, overwhelming. We're constantly going, we're working, we're doing things. But you need to take time for yourself and just kind of check in with yourself and just kind of see how you're feeling. How, are you having any symptoms of anxiety or depression? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you have life stressors currently in your life that are affecting your quality of life? So, it's important to just kind of periodically check in. And, if you think there's an issue, it's definitely something that you want to discuss with your doctor. Also, I encourage my patients to meditate. Meditation is actually very effective for maintaining good mental health. And, there's a lot of different ways to meditate. One type of meditation, may work well for one person versus another for another patient. So I encourage my patients to find something that works for them. One option is using an app. The App Store has a multitude of apps that are very good. Probably the most well-known one is Headspace, which is really nice because it kind of just takes you through. It has a daily meditation and it just kind of takes the work out of it. Also, there are other types of meditation, for example, guided imagery, which there are also apps for this as well. But some people just do well with silent reflection, just taking some time in the morning at any time during the day just to just to kind of reflect within and, maybe read, maybe read a prayer or something encouraging. Other forms of meditation are journaling. Journaling is very therapeutic. You just have to find what works for you, but we know meditation works very well. There are several studies that show that meditation is just as effective as medication in treating depression in some cases. Also, it's very important to have good sleep health. Most of my patients don't sleep well, and we live in this technological age where we have social media and all these great devices, but those things can adversely affect our sleep. So, it's a good idea to kind of know what good sleep hygiene is. So, and one of the things that is a problem in this day and age is the devices that we use, our iPhones, our iPads, our computers. These devices emit blue light. Blue light is actually disruptive to our natural biorhythms. This can actually affect melatonin production, etc. So it's a good idea to, avoid using these devices close to bedtime. Also, if you have an Apple device, they have that night mode to where it's a soft emission of light and it blocks the blue light. So, it's a good idea just to, know what good sleep hygiene is and do those basic things to have good quality sleep. Also, diet and exercise. Diet and exercise, I mean, this is going to show up over and over, vitally important for mental health. We have a multitude of studies showing that diet and exercise are as effective as medication in treating depression and anxiety. Also, it's really important this day and age to go outside and get natural sunlight. A lot of us work indoors and we don't get a chance to go outside and get that good natural sunlight. And, again, because we're surrounded by different types of lighting, fluorescent lights and blue light, it's not great for our health. So there's a part of our brain called the supracosmetic nucleus that actually needs natural sunlight to be activated. And this regulates different biorhythms in the body. Again, for example, melatonin production. Also, just a reminder, when there's a problem, talk to your doctor. I know there's still a stigma with mental health, but a lot of people experience these issues. Most people that actually struggle with these issues, and so it's not a character defect. These are actual diseases like diabetes and hypertension. With anxiety and depression, a lot of times these are objective neurotransmitter imbalances in the brain with serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. And we don't always have to use medication to treat these things. We can use lifestyle modification, we can use counseling, but it's important that when there's a problem, you talk to your doctor. So let's talk about, I think, the realm of health that gets overlooked the most, and that's spiritual health. It's critically important. Again, we're super busy in this day and age, and a lot of us don't think about or take time to work on our spiritual health. But it's important to note that this is not just equating to a specific religion or a specific belief. I'm very blessed. I work for Our Lady of the Lake, and we're a faith-based organization, so I get to pray with my team and my patients. But this doesn't have to be a religious belief. It can be viewed as your connection to the world and others. Also, just a reminder, just basic things, the power of prayer. And that prayer can be whatever you want it to be, but also the importance of others praying for you. It's very interesting. We have studies with ICU patients and two groups of patients, and there are studies showing that the group of patients that actually gets prayed for actually clinically do better. So there is a lot to that. The spiritual health affects the physical health, but also self-reflection. Going back to those tools that we discussed for maintaining good and optimal mental health. Also, acknowledging your blessings. This is a very easy thing that we can do every day. I do it every morning. I get it. We wake up, we're tired, and sometimes we're overwhelmed. And so the first thing I always do is I just try to put things in perspective. I just, kind of go through a list of my gratitudes. My family is healthy. I have a roof over my head. Those affirmations and reminders can be really helpful as we navigate the day. But also, good spiritual health can involve, just spending time with family and friends. It's therapeutic. It's good for the soul. And also, I didn't put it on the slide, but with that, laughter. Again, we have medical studies showing that patients that laugh, they actually do better health-wise. So please, do not neglect your spiritual health. So just some final points. So health and wellness, it is an individualized journey for the individualized person. It's really important that you have a physician to help navigate this journey with you. So you want to navigate this journey with a physician that understands this concept. Each of us are unique. And so each patient requires a wellness and treatment plan that is as unique as they are. A cookie cutter mentality doesn't work for every patient. And so also this concept of precision medicine, we live in a great time where we have these incredible medical advances. But it's great because we can use this cutting edge medical science combined with lifestyle modification to both prevent and treat illness. Also, the holidays are coming. So, but just a reminder, health is not a seasonal concept. So it's a continuum, as we discussed initially. So it's something you want to work on, long term. And, the holidays can be overwhelming. Let the holidays be a time of joy and not stress. I know a lot of my patients, they stress out about the foods and beverages that we enjoy during the holiday season. And it's okay to enjoy those things, those foods and beverages during the holidays. Just try not to overindulge. And also just try not to view the new year as, the typical resolution as I'm going to go on a diet and exercise this year. Think of it as a new beginning. This is a new time for me to start fresh. And I'm going to view my healthcare journey as a long-term process, something I'm going to work on every day. And just remember that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So we have to start from somewhere. And so I have a quote here from St. Francis of Assisi, who is our patron saint for the lake, who is our inspiration for our mission statement. And so health care and illness can be overwhelming for people, understandably. But if we start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, suddenly you're doing the impossible. So we can do this together. And thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Enjoy the holiday season and stay healthy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Galofaro. I really enjoyed that. And I'm eager to build on the nutrition side of things. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint and y'all chime in if it does not appear. Okay. So a holistic approach to nutrition. So again, just a little background on where I'm coming from. I am a registered dietitian and I work with Ochsner's Eat Fit North Shore program. So I primarily work with restaurants and out in the community to help make the healthy choice an easier choice by very clearly identifying what some nutritious options are on restaurant menus throughout the North Shore. I'll share a little bit more about Eat Fit and the resources that are available to you at the end of my presentation, but for now, we can just dive right into what I would like to cover to build on what we've already discussed. So what we're facing, the nutrition culture and climate of what is coming with the holidays, we'll touch on that. And then we'll discuss how we can then approach it and face those things and thrive throughout the holiday season and beyond. With that, a very important part of a healthy diet is just having and fostering a healthy relationship with food. And we'll talk about that and just being mindful with our food and nutrition. We'll then dive into some practical tips on meal prep and label reading. And then finally, again, I'll chat on Eat Fit and what you can use with that. So just to chat on what are we facing? We are feeling it, pandemic fatigue. We're all a little zoomed out there. This has been ongoing, but there's a lot of nutrition misinformation out on the internet. So again, that's why it's so important to be plugged in with your primary care physician and with your team of health professionals so that it can guide you past all of the information out there to the evidence-based information. And then just a sense of disconnection and overwhelmingness that has been for the past couple of years. And I think that can affect our health in different ways. So if you take a minute to kind of reflect on the past couple of years, how has it affected your health? I kind of see people go in opposite directions. Maybe we held tighter to the control of positive lifestyle changes and made some great lifestyle changes while we were home in the beginning of the pandemic. And maybe that's now leading to some stress if we feel like our ability to maintain that or whatever diet we were doing is slipping. Or the other side of it, maybe we thought, I'm not doing so great, so let me just throw in the towel. And then add in the holiday season. So as Dr. Galofaro mentioned, there's a higher availability of those higher calorie, less nutrient dense options as we have holiday parties and events coming up. There's a lot of holiday traditions that revolve and focus on food. Stress, busyness, limited time to prepare nutritious meals, and then the extended holiday season concept, whereas maybe Christmas and Thanksgiving are a single day, same with Halloween or Mardi Gras, but we tend to find this is when we start with 4 months of straight holidays and sometimes just think, oh, well, it's a wash from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas and to Mardi Gras. And that's a large part of the year that maybe we aren't paying as much attention to what we're eating as we would like to. So specific to nutrition, I would like to discuss some overall lifestyle pillars that will help to reach our nutrition goals. Then to discuss nutrition as self-care as a way we can fuel ourselves and foster a healthy relationship with food instead of feeling a idea of guilt or a lack of control with eating. And then finally, a healthy macronutrient distribution. So we'll talk a little bit about label reading and things we can add to our meals and snacks to help balance them. The lifestyle pillars. And I think a lot of this is duplicate of what Dr. Galofaro already discussed, but I put this in the nutrition section because all of this is so key for reaching your nutrition goals as well. We can't kombucha our way to a healthy diet or a healthy gut. All of these lifestyle pillars are a vital part of reaching our nutrition goals, as well as our overall health goals. So sleep, you already mentioned that. Nutrient diversity, so a variety of different colors and foods in our diets, as well as fiber for gut health. Gut health is very key to mind, body, and spirit. There's a lot of research that has emerged even in recent years to share the importance of gut health for brain, digestion, immune support, mental health. All of that plays a role in our overall health based on the foods that we're eating. Stress management, hydration. I'll share a detail on that a good rule of thumb for hydration needs are whatever your weight is in pounds, you would want half of that in ounces of fluid a day as a baseline. So as an example, if you weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces of fluid is a good baseline goal for you on hydration. And if you're exercising, which physical activity is another really important lifestyle pillar for overall health, for every pound of sweat lost, we'd want an additional 16 to 24 ounces of fluid daily. So how do we find balance? How do we approach that diet aspect without adding more stress? One thing I really encourage a lot of the individuals I speak with is to ditch the black and white mindset. And I touched on that a little bit earlier, just mentioning, if you had a cookie at a work event, that doesn't mean the whole day is over and you can no longer eat healthy foods the rest of the day, or that it's a wash. So just getting out of that black and white, all or nothing mindset, we can enjoy those things, those, more splurge items every once in a while and still have an overall healthy diet. And just because we've had and enjoyed one of those items doesn't mean that we can't continue to make nutritious choices throughout the day, the week, the month. Another thing is to savor our food. So when you do indulge in those items, don't feel guilty about it. Try to eat slowly, pay attention to it, and enjoy it. With items that are traditionally considered healthy and those that would be traditionally considered unhealthy. So pay attention to the color, smell, texture, and taste, and how you feel as you eat. A lot of times that means not eating with the screen in front of our faces. That really impacts our ability to listen to our bodies, to have those hunger cues and know when we're full. And then let go of the guilt. So we're focusing on 90% of the time, what am I choosing? Am I choosing things that make me feel good and fuel my body well? And how do I feel after I've eaten those things? And I've noticed that every afternoon I feel very hungry or brain fog, or I find myself grazing and snacking a lot. Listening to those body's cues might be the signal to say, I'm always feeling like that around this time. Maybe I need to build in a protein rich or healthy fat rich snack and actually sit down and enjoy that to fuel myself, to get myself till dinner. So with that, I love to focus more on what we're adding than what we're subtracting. Sometimes we can get in the weeds, I think, on some specific nutrition topics, whether it's organic or GMO or things like that, where it's important to consider those things, but do we have the basic framework laid? Are we having 5 servings or more of fruits and vegetables a day? If we're not meeting those baseline things, let's start there first. So let's set small and achievable goals. If we're having 1 serving of fruits or vegetables a day, okay, that's a starting point. Let's try for 2 and making it so that's something that you can actually achieve and then build on. So recommendations of 5 servings of fruits and veggies a day. One good way to achieve this is to use the plate method. This is the choose my plate that's kind of replaced the my pyramid back in the day, which I like. It is a plate, we eat on a plate, so it's more practical, but half of our plate, we'd like to make it non-starchy vegetables at most of our meals. At breakfast, it might be a fruit. So non-starchy vegetables are any veggies except for potatoes, peas, beans, and corn. That can fill half of our plate. And then a fourth of the plate would be a lean protein. And then a fourth would be a complex carb, such as a whole grain bread item, or a starchy or veggie like a sweet potato, lentils, beans, things like that. Making sure we have a protein or a heart-healthy fat source with each meal and snack. This is a great way that listening to your body's cues, you'll find when we have a source of protein or a heart-healthy fat at those times of eating, you find that it's much more satiating and satisfying, and you're not going to feel like you need something 30 minutes later. So an example of that would be, afternoon at the office, maybe it's quick to grab and pack an apple. It's a great and healthy snack, but let's pair it with peanut butter, or let's do a cheese stick with that to add protein and or healthy fats to help keep us full through until dinner, and then also kind of help mute that blood sugar response, because we have a protein or healthy fat that slows down the digestive process and the insulin spike. Incorporating all the colors. So this is a fun thing to do if you have kids. Talk about the colors on your plate. You'll see the kids campaigns of make a rainbow on your plate, but that applies to adults too. All of the different colors of fruits and veggies have a different array of micronutrients and phytochemicals, and we need all of that diversity for our gut and for overall health and for all of those vitamins and minerals. So what colors are on your plate? Try to choose dark leafy greens, orange veggies, reds, olive or purple. All those things are going to provide different array of nutrition. Drink a glass of water before every meal. That's a good way to meet those hydration goals. And then sometimes not every time, but sometimes when we feel like we're constantly hungry, we might be thirsty. So making sure we're prioritizing hydration can be a really effective way to make sure we're meeting our nutrition goals as well. And then finally, making time for rest. So practical things that we can be working on. Making a weekly plan is so helpful. And a few hours of preparation can save so much time throughout the week. And this doesn't have to be a source of stress, or it doesn't have to be stringent that there's no plan B, but making a calendar with some general meal ideas is very effective. So that doesn't have to be Monday, we're having this entree with these two sides and this bread. It can be, I'm going to have a few bags of bagged lettuce throughout or in my fridge, so I can have that as salads as easy grab and go, or add to our meal option. Or I'm going to have these 4 veggies in my fridge that I can easily roast, that's ready to pair with these 3 entrees that I've prepared or thought out ahead. So I think plan out a few entrees, have some veggie sides that are easy to prepare, and then you can mix and match those throughout the week as you need. And having plan Bs. So sometimes dining out is needed, and that's where Eat Fit comes in. We have a lot of really good grab and go meals that you can purchase with local businesses that are on the Eat Fit app that I'll share about a little bit later. Or if you're dining out at a restaurant, we can help you to choose nutritious options that are really delicious while you're dining out as well. So basic label reading, I would like to touch on this because this is where we can identify what are the options that we can choose from the grocery store that are higher in protein or have those heart healthy fats. So when we're looking at a nutrition facts label, we are moving away from this original label design to the new label, and you'll see more and more of these this year and this coming year as the time table for this is ending for some of these companies. So start with the serving size at the top. This is important because things like a bottled drink or a can of soup, sometimes the servings per container is 2. So when you might drink a whole bottle of the drink, the serving size is only half of the bottle. So you would have to then double everything on the rest of the nutrition facts label. So it's always important to start there and look at that, look at the serving size and the number of servings per container, so you know if you need to divide or multiply the rest of the label. It is important to pay attention to calories. It can be shocking sometimes on some products where we had no idea that was a larger contribution of calories than we thought. And then things to limit would be your saturated fat, trans fat, and sodium. For heart health, those are the ones that we want to limit. Heart healthy fats are your unsaturated fats, and those are going to support heart health. And things like omega-3s are considered an unsaturated fat. Understanding carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your total, and then they're broken down into what makes up that total number. So fiber is one we want to prioritize. Usually 25 grams of fiber a day is a good goal. And then sugars. So the newer labels actually break out what is considered an added sugar, which is very nice for us. And American Heart Association recommends for women, it's, I think, and I'm going to ballpark this, I believe it's 25 grams of added sugar a day is a limit for women. And for men, it's 36 grams of added sugar per day that we should try to stay below. Get enough protein and those heart healthy fats. And then using the ingredients list to clarify the label. So you'll find, for an example, something like plain yogurt. Plain yogurt does not have any sugar added, and we can see that in the ingredients list. It might be, the milk and cultured milk and then the prebiotics. But it might show that there's sugars in that yogurt, and that's just the naturally occurring milk sugar. That's why it's helpful to compare the ingredients list and see, is there any sugar actually added to this, or is it just naturally occurring? But with the added sugar label becoming more common and widely used, that's a big help. So as we dive into the holidays, I just wanted to share some easy substitutions that we can use to influence the macronutrients of our dishes that we prepare, and that are just tools to keep in our toolbox as we prepare our meals going forward. So ways that we can reduce the calorie content of some of these high calorie dishes that we might be preparing is to swap regular cream cheese for your lower fat versions or non-fat cream cheese. For baked goods, you can use equal parts applesauce instead of the oil, actually, and it does usually work very well. Instead of mayo, plain Greek yogurt or a light mayo is a good swap. But on a sandwich, you could even use hummus, mustard, or pesto for a burst of flavor. Sour cream, plain Greek yogurt works just as well, and it adds some extra protein. Using ground turkey or even lentils in a mixed meat dish instead of the higher fat beef is a good swap. And then using evaporated fat-free milk instead of heavy cream, it still has that thickness and richness, but it's from the protein of the milk instead of the fat of the heavy cream. Boosting nutrition, we can use whole wheat flour for up to half of the flour called for in a recipe. So we love to choose whole wheat options because it is a complex carb. It's going to provide those B vitamins. It provides some fiber, absolutely, which is really helpful for flour. Instead of croutons, we can add nuts and seeds to a salad. We can reduce sugar in a lot of recipes without impacting it at all, or use a substitute, something like Swerve. It's something that we use a lot with our baking, and it's one-to-one swap for sugar, and it still adds bulk like sugar does. So it's really effective in using for baked goods and things like that. Mashed cauliflower or half mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes. We can cut some carbs that way and even add more fiber. And then there's so many swaps for just plain white pasta nowadays. We've got lentil pasta, bonza pasta, which is garbanzo bean pasta, zoodle, spaghetti squash. There's a lot of different nutrient dense ways we can swap out pasta in certain dishes. Not that it's a problem if you enjoy pasta every once in a while, but on a day-to-day basis, if you find you're making those dishes a lot, those are some good swaps that we can introduce. As we approach the holiday season and are in fact already in it, ways that we can stay on track on those days specifically are to eat small meals all day. Don't starve yourself all the way until Thanksgiving feast or Christmas dinner. Eat a regular diet so that when you get to the feast, you're not starving. You can actually enjoy the options that are there. Fill up on the nutrient dense items first. So if there's a veggie side you really love, or if there's some fruit appetizers, those are really good things to start with. And then enjoy the things that you want to enjoy. You only have it a couple of times a year. Don't feel guilty. Enjoy it, savor it, and then just keep going on the diet plan that you've pursued. We have some recipes for you. If you'd like to look at this, we have an Eat Fit cookbook that has over 40 different restaurants locally, their recipes redesigned for use at home. So all of these recipes are very tasty, but also very good for you. You can look at eatfitcookbook.com if you want to check that out as a gift idea as we approach the holidays. And just to give a little bit more background about Eat Fit and the resources that you can use at no cost, free. Eat Fit is free for our restaurants. It's just a community service that we offer, and it's just supposed to give you a tool for wellness out on the North Shore and throughout Louisiana. So we do not believe in being the food police, but we do believe in providing options for people who want that. So having an option, a nutritious option on the menu that fits everyone's lifestyle. If they're trying to find those things, we want to make it as easy as possible. We work with restaurants to identify healthy options with our Eat Fit logo directly on the menu, so that when you find and look at a menu, you know right away that that's a dietitian recommended meal that I can feel confident about, that it's going to meet my nutrition goals as well as being really tasty. So that's the resources for the individual. The items marked directly on the menu with the seal, our free smartphone app, which you saw in the previous slide with the image. We have nutrition facts for every Eat Fit dish on the app. We also have a database of recipes, shopping guides that are brand specific that walk you through the grocery store of which brands of which items our team recommends. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out. So if you're interested in signing up for that, feel free to shoot me an email. Eat Fit cookbook and a new one on the way. And Eat Fit King Cake will be coming in January at different local businesses throughout the North Shore. Alcohol Free for 40 is a challenge that we offer each year to give up alcohol for the 40 days of Lent with support throughout the whole time. And then we also have our Fueled podcast that goes out every Thursday. So those are images of three of the main things that we do. On the side is the cookbook, the king cake coming through the king cake season. And then if you're interested in the Alcohol Free for 40 challenge, please, again, shoot me an email and I'm happy to share information on that with you if you want to join us this year. So what we look for in the dishes that are labeled Eat Fit approved are whole grains, little to no added sugar, enough fruits and veggies that it's a satiating dish that has plenty of fiber, protein, and healthy fats, and then lower in sodium. There's again the image of the app, and I'll just leave you with, we're approaching the holidays, so just slow down and savor that time with your family and friends, savor the magic around you, savor the memories you're creating. And when it comes to food, slow down and savor the good stuff. And that's my contact info.
Thank you so much, Brittany and Dr. Galofaro. That was really great information. It looks like we do have a question. The question is, how much beef should a person eat weekly? Is there a limit on beef? Should you only eat so much red meat a week? What does that look like, Brittany?
To my understanding, there's not a general recommendation on beef of exactly how much you should be eating. However, the concern with beef is typically the saturated fat that is in beef. So the few ways that we can address that would be to choose a leaner cut of beef, like sirloin, or if it's ground beef, the 90-10% lean. And the recommendation for saturated fat, I will give you that, is less than 7% of your daily calories should be coming from saturated fat. So work with your healthcare team to identify maybe how many calories you should be eating a day. And then from there, you can identify what 7% of that, and I should be staying less than that on saturated fat. But in general, I will say having a more plant-focused diet is very effective for promoting good health. There's a lot of research on choosing plants more often. So maybe even if you're having beef a lot, try to introduce a meatless Monday, and we're going to do lentils instead of beef in a beef dish, or have beans or nuts or seeds or even tofu be the star of the show just that day, so we can kind of try to introduce some of those into our repertoire of recipes.
Great. Thank you so much. We did have another comment that just said that this was a really great presentation from both of you, and that the information was great and very informative. I will say, as the chair of the committee, that this is just one of the ways that we're trying to really meet our mission by creating and maintaining a positive culture of health and wellness among businesses in the community. And so I feel like this was great information. I like the fact that both of you provided resources, that were free. I think Dr. Galofaro talked about the Headspace app. I have it. I just need to start using it. I downloaded it a couple of months ago. And then the Eat Fit app for dietary needs. I think it's all great information. And I really appreciated having you both today. So thank y'all so much.